RotoGrinders! Welcome to RotoGrinders Today. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. BlenderHD, BlenderHD. If you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Monday, February 5th. And you know what we do on Mondays usually. I know several past Mondays I haven't been here, but we're back. It's Mondays with Mccool. I'm joined by James Mccool, the co-author, with me on the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports. It's a 15-hour audio DFS masterclass you could pick up at theoryofdfs.com, as well as the Advanced Player's Guide with the custom Excel tools. Go check that out. Today, we're going to talk about Super Bowl props. Super Bowl props. A lot of people, James, think that Super Bowl props are for the casual fishes, right? You know, the Super Bowl comes around, it's like, oh, there's a million different things, whether or not you're betting legally and regulated sportsbooks here in the United States as well as offshore, because they may have different markets. A lot of people think, well, this is where the suckers, right? Because everyone in there, you know, the casual people love betting on these Super Bowl props. But if I were to tell you that there's actually enormous edge, if you could find them in Super Bowl props, would you be surprised?
No, I wouldn't be surprised. No, I mean, you should always be looking for an edge, especially when there's a whole bunch of things offered. Because typically the more things offered, the more mistakes can be made, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at with Super Bowl.
Right. And I would add good morning to Wataz Bartby. Hit that thumbs up button, by the way. Give me that thumbs up. Give me the subscribes. Give me the hit the notification bell. Hit everything. Hit everything. Firstly, I want to, before we get into like how to find possible edges in Super Bowl props. And I don't know if we're going to identify any today on the show. And if we were to, I probably wouldn't say anything. I just take it and run with it. And these edges wouldn't be like projection edges. These would be sportsbooks miscalculating odds types of things, because they put up these things. I mean, dude, that I think there was a story, James, on 60 Minutes last night. I didn't watch it. I did not watch it. I will. The perception, and I tweeted this out last week, right? So today's show, we're going over tweets that I tweeted out last week and explaining them. That the sports books have AI, they have data banks, they have all this stuff that puts them at a great advantage over the average consumer and everything. And I tweeted out, it's like, yeah, all this AI and data banks. I regularly go on DraftKings and FanDuel and Caesars anywhere, and regularly see someone's over 5.5 rebounds be minus 115, and then 6+ rebounds be minus 110. Like depending on what section you're going into. I mean, you regularly see someone's like you combine like the two, like as far as like PRA is concerned, right? You find it's like, oh, okay, I know that the distributions are different, but you'll see like over under 26.5 PRA, and then find that like, well, if you do under on each of them, and it's actually like 23.5 or something like, and then you look at the distributions and that's all false. Like very simple things that, because they're trying to create a menu of, you know, a million different things that they're not aware that is 5 cents off here, 10 cents off there. Now both bets in that scenario with the rebounds, maybe negative EV regardless of the 5 cent difference. But the fact that the same bet isn't priced the same because it's worded differently, I mean, that's kind of what we're going to get into in the Super Bowl props.
Yeah.
But I just think it's laughable that the sports books are not smarter than I think that's a huge misconception, that especially when it comes to props, that they're beatable. And really the main game that you're playing is, how do you beat them without them noticing?
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, if they were so high and mighty and all powerful and their models were that much better, then there wouldn't be winners out there. But there's a lot of winners out there. There's winners in our industry, just specifically in the DFS and the sports betting industry. There are winners everywhere. I say all the time. I have said, how many times in the last year have I said that anybody can make money betting props? Literally anyone. All you have to do is just know what to look for. And that's one of the things to look for, is look for the differences in the way that bets are displayed and the way they are worded, and finding 5, 10, 15 cents here, and then combining that with doing the same thing across multiple books. And then all of a sudden you're finding 15, 20, 25 cent edges here and there, simply just by saying that one bet is the same thing, but that they calculated it differently because they're just trying to do different things. What it comes down to is sports books don't necessarily have to be that much better than good bettors. They just don't, because there are so many bad bettors and so many people that don't pay attention to these things. They just rake in money. It doesn't matter that they're a little bit off here or a little bit off there. Sure, people like you and I and people who watch the show are going to be able to find that stuff, but we represent like 6 or 7% of the entire pool. If you take the good people in the DFS industry, I guess. I don't know. It's a really small amount.
Also, it's also what you mentioned is also combined by the fact that if you're too obvious about it, that their first line of defense is, here's your limit, $3.72. Good luck.
What you got to do is you got to make sure that you bet like a total donk for a month, right? Like, just consider it an investment in later prospects and just bet like an idiot. And then they're going to have your betting profile. You're going to have 300 bets of just SGPs and betting sides that move the wrong way, right? Just like get as much negative CLV as you can for a month. Invest $1,000 doing that, and then you're just scot-free. They'll never limit you. They have this huge profile.
There are theories, but there are tons of theories behind cover bets, and I mean, I do place so-called cover bets. Just basically, my accounts all have like a wide variety of bets, and I try to find like break even. Like, is this bet break even? Bet it. Is it break even? But like, it just like superfluous volume that is like, does it have a slight positive edge? Can it have a slight negative edge? I'm taking it anyway. I mean, my whole macro strategy is based on a lot of volume of small bets. So like good luck deciphering. It's like, oh wow, these 3 bets really got a lot of CLV, but like I have like 80 bets that like didn't get anything.
Right.
And it's like either my projection was better, or our projections here at RotoGrinders were better, but they have to figure it out. Go figure it out whether or not I'm good or not. And when you do a very small number of bets and you're like, okay, I'm going to try to put down $500,000, and you get, you get 4 points of CLV on an NFL line or something, like you're screwed. I mean, like you're screwed now. You're screwed at that point until how much is your account worth? How much money have you made? Me, I care about more longevity over time, because my macro strategy involves, I'm not looking to make 6 figures sports betting. I'm looking to make mid 5s. And how do I do this as in the least amount of time investment in a day, and as long as I can on my own accounts? And as of now, I mean, my accounts have not been limited to the point in which my normal bet sizing is
right.
I can't do. The only thing that I notice is that I really don't I don't get many promos. Right? I just like my promotional balance is I get, here's $5 for an SGP, or here's $10 sweat free or whatever. It's like, okay, this really doesn't mean that much.
What I like to call those break-even bets, I just like to call it prop tax. It's just a prop tax. You don't know if it's a true coin flip. Just go and take it. Let them think that you're just taking a pure coin flip. Just prop tax. That's all. I was going to say
another. Okay.
Oh, yeah. No, I was just going to say, as far as like the bet size thing goes, I'm a lot like you. And when I am actually like sports betting, I've taken about a month off of DFS and betting just because I have been burnt out a little bit. So also we're entering a late season NBA, and that's a whole other thing. But I've taken about a month off, but my bet size, I try to keep my bet size low because for the ROI that I want, for the amount of money that I want to make from sports betting, I don't need large bet sizes. I don't care. Like 25, 30, 35 bucks a bet. Doesn't matter. Just get down a couple $100 in volume and I'm happy with that. I have pay dirt to pay the bills and I have other things where, you know, a couple $1,000 a month from sports betting. Happy with that.
I want to bring up a tweet from last week. Oh, I'm done. Steve, I got it. They give me control so I can bring it up and down. We talk about Super Bowl props. One of the things I see every year, I literally see this every year. Every year, they have a bet on the coin flip, right? Now, I don't think you could do that in the U.S. I don't see it on DraftKings or FanDuel or anything, but in this may be offshore. But if they have the bet on the coin flip, a lot of times you'll see the bet on the coin flip be like minus 105 on both sides, right? Now, obviously, most people, they look at that. I'm talking about just normal people. Just a guy down the street and goes and then laugh and they go, how stupid is to lay money on a coin flip? Like, because it's so instinctual that people know a coin flip is 50-50. So plus 100 on both sides would be 0% hold, 0% edge, like break even. And people would willingly bet minus 105, minus 110 on heads or minus 105 on tails. And first off, James, we could both agree, right? That this is not like controversial. That betting minus 105 on the coin flip is a negative expectation.
Yes. Pure and simple. There's no hesitation there.
Right. So how do we determine it's a negative expectation? Obviously, you know, instinctually, it's like, well, minus 105 shouldn't be the price. It should be plus 110, plus 100. How much is it off? Right? Because obviously, if the American odds were plus 100, that's a 50% implied odds. Right? We can see here in this odds converter on Action Network. So minus 105 is essentially you're getting paid as if it's a 51.22% chance, which unless you have some way of knowing the wind I guess there are people that could delude themselves in thinking that there's some way of predicting the coin flip. But basically your edge, negative edge is the difference between the actual odds and the implied odds that you're getting on your bet. So minus 105, the implied odds are 51.22%. The real odds are 50%. So that's minus 1.22%. So even if you bet on the coin flip at minus 105, it is still a better bet than betting anything on a 00 roulette wheel.
Yeah.
Like if you go, because the 00 roulette is 5.25% negative EV. So if you bet black or red or something like that, like for people to laugh and go, who's stupid enough to bet minus 105 on a coin flip and then goes to their local casino and goes, I'm going to put $50 down on black on the roulette wheel is 4 times more stupid, right? It's 4 times more stupid, right? And people do that now, obviously for entertainment purposes and whatever. So like, if you're the type of person that goes to the casino for entertainment and plays table games, if you want to throw $100 down on the coin flip for entertainment purposes, it's actually it's weird to say, James, compared to how some people bet, it actually may be a better bet than some of the other bets that they make on the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah.
Like literally the minus 105 on the coin flip may have a lower negative expectation, right? Than some of the other they'll bet a fourth leg SGP that has a 14% hold, right? And then go, I think this is smart. I'm betting $100 SGP on this and go, no, you're losing more money on that than you would by betting heads on the coin on the coin toss. And when you look at it that way, it just seems odd that this is the disconnect between how people view sports betting that don't come from some type of, thinking of it more analytically and mathematically, that everything that you bet on is this determination of what is the actual odds of this happening versus how much are you getting paid. Are you getting more than the probability or less than the probability? But when it comes to a coin flip, people just know that in 50-50 is easy to judge.
Yeah.
Christian McCaffrey scoring a touchdown, that's in their heads, that's not a coin flip. That's why we build projections out to go, what do we estimate? What do we project the actual probability of this? And how do we compare that to a number? So that's why I wrote, and we'll get into what I wrote, but do you think it's odd for me to say that for a lot of people out there, betting on the coin flip is better than betting anything else on the Super Bowl?
No, of course not. Because I used to have a friend, because we used to go up all the time and go play blackjack. And I used to have a friend who would come up with us, and all he would do is he would sit down and he would bring however much money he had, and he would just lay the table max on one hand, and whatever that was, that was just what he did. That was it. That was all he would do.
Was that blackjack?
Yeah, just blackjack.
And if he was playing anywhere decently basic strategy, that's like maybe negative 2%.
Yeah, negative 2%, because you have about a 48% chance if you're playing basically perfectly and you're not counting cards. If you're counting cards, then you actually have a little bit of an edge. But if you just play one hand, you have about a 48% chance against the house, and that was it. So he would do that, and he would actually compare it to like a coin flip. Say it's about 50-50. I'll take one shot, and then he would just walk away and you just get free drinks for the rest of the night because that's just what he wanted to do. Same thing with Super Bowl, and same thing with betting coin flip. Like, you basically have the best odds on betting the coin flip in terms of anything else that you could bet. The average bettor should probably, if they want to get down action on the Super Bowl, should probably just bet on the coin flip. You have a better chance. Like, you literally have better odds being offered and less hold against that than if you were to try to bet on like Brock Purdy over on pass attempts or something, or Christian McCaffrey on a touchdown, or George Kittle.
To be fair, betting on that randomly without any projections, without any
right.
Yeah. Right.
And even if you have projections, I would almost argue that betting on coin flip is probably better than a lot of the other projections out there on certain bets. Not on like the high volume stuff, but on like touchdowns, just bet the coin flip. Just bet the coin flip.
The anytime touchdown markets are high hold, and the likelihood of you being able to out project the hold is it could be available. It could be, but it's less likely to be.
Yeah. Speaking in general terms, I think that you are less likely and have less edge. It's a worse bet to try to bet anytime touchdown odds on most of the players than it is to bet the coin flip.
And then I also said in my tweet, I said a lot of the people who laugh at how stupid it is to bet minus 105 on the coin flip, the big game coin flip. I don't know if we're allowed to say the SB words. I don't know. A lot of people who laugh at how stupid it is to bet minus 105 on the coin flip are the same ones who regularly bet stuff at minus 120 when minus 110 is available.
Yeah.
And this is the second point. Like, I know it's weird. Someone will clip this out from what we just said. Said, dude, don't bet the props. Just bet minus 105 on the coin flip, and they'll post it and go, well, how stupid are these people? Right? But how about the people that you're betting regularly? These are normal people, regular. You're out there and you're like, okay, what's NBA going on tonight? What's NHL going on tonight? Anything, right? College basketball. And they're like, okay, I'm gonna bet shots on goal for some hockey player or something. And it's, over 1.5 is minus 120 on FanDuel. And they go there and they go, okay, I'm going to bet $100 on minus 120 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, that same over 1.5 shots on goal is minus 110. Right? And they go, why don't you just go over to DraftKings and take minus 110 instead of minus 120? What's the big difference? What's the big difference? I mean, I'm still betting the same thing, right? I mean, so I lose like is it worth the extra 50 cents? Is it worth, these rationalizations happen about line shopping. And it's like, well, let's do the math. right? Minus 120 when minus 110 is available. Okay. So remember, the difference between minus 105 and plus 100 is 1.22%. Right. So that's the coin flip of like, why the hell would you bet the coin flip at minus 105? You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Well, let's say you take minus 120, which is a 54.55 implied odds. When it's available to you, it's like, this is not like it's not like, all you have to do is click on the other app and go to your other account, and it's minus 110. The difference between 54.55 and 52.38 is 2.17%.
Yeah.
So by not going and getting the minus 110 that's available and taking the minus 120, you're giving up a little over 2%, which is ridiculous to do, especially if you're doing this on a regular basis. When they'll pay you 2%, they'll pay you 2.17% more. That's twice as much as that's almost twice as much as the difference between betting minus 105 and plus 110 and plus 100 on a coin flip. Like, yeah, yes, you could say that minus 120 could still be plus EV, right? There are plenty of props that we see day to day that if you price them out would be minus 140, right? Someone's rebound, someone's shots on goal, someone's whatever, receiving yards. And you're like, this should be priced out at minus 140, right? Right, minus 140 is 58.33%. And you go, well, minus 120, you still have an edge. I mean, you still have like a 3% edge there. But
how much more?
I'd rather have a 5% edge.
Right.
Right? So even though it's a profitable bet, right? You'd be better off betting minus 120. You'd be better off betting on the coin flip of the Super Bowl mixed with the minus 110 bet. Like, you understand what it's like? Take half your money. You find that minus 120 when minus 110 is available. Put half your money on that and then put half your money on the coin flip. And that would be and that would be better than taking the minus 120.
Yep.
Like, that's the difference. So like, the people that's why this happens every year, James, because I see it, because people laugh about the coin flip bets and everything. How much action what's the sharp side, right? What are the sharps? It's minus 108 for heads and minus 103 for tails. That means they must need action on the heads, like all these stupid jokes. But no one seems to laugh when people on a regular daily basis go and say, yeah, I'm going to take these 30 basketball props and bet them all on FanDuel because I just prefer FanDuel, when 20 of them have a better price on another site.
Right.
And like, this one is better on BetMGM and this one is better on Bet365. This one's better on DraftKings. And maybe some of them are better to get a better price on FanDuel. And sometimes every book has the same number or the same price. Mm-hmm. But by not line shopping, you are being like exponentially, especially since it compounds as you make more and more bets and do this more and more often, that at the end of the day, if you were to make, let's just say 5 bets, James.
Yeah.
Let's say you're $100 better. We're just going to use, let's make it even lower for even the real Rex. Let's make it $20 better. Right? And you're only betting 3 bets a day. But you're betting almost every day. So let's say 300 days a year. So you're betting about $60, right? Yep. 3 bets at 20. And you're giving up 2% for no reason. Right? Just giving up 2% completely for no reason. So what's 2% of $60? Right? That's $1.20.
Yep.
Right? So $1.20 a day. Right? $1.20 a day times 300 days. Because you're doing this every day or enough, right? So basically, you're just giving up $360.
No, you're giving up more than that. It's compounding.
Right. Well, I'm assuming that your unit size doesn't change or anything like that. So it would be. Yeah. Well, I'm not taking that into account, right? You're just a recreational bettor betting $20 a day on 3 bets.
Yeah.
And you're not line shopping, and you're giving up 2%. You're taking minus 115s when there's a minus 105 in the market. So at your average, giving up 2%. So that's $360 over the course of the year. Like betting, I mean, that's the equivalent of like you'd be better off betting $1,000 on you'd be better off betting $1,000 at minus 105 on the coin flip than doing any of that.
So you might as well,
right?
So what you're telling me is we should take out a loan of $1,000 and go just bet 105 on the coin flip, right?
Well, in comparison to what if you're losing money on the way, this is not a what you should do. This is a I'm using the coin flip, James, to explain to people why they should be doing something else.
I'm just saying because somebody's going to clip it out. So I'm just making sure that we give very clear advice that you should go take out $1,000 and bet on the coin flip.
Right. That's why the title of this video should be the big game coin flip betting strategy. But I use this time of the year, James. I use this time of the year because, I mean, to a lot of people, maybe not our fine audience or smarter audience in here, maybe some people will finally get the message of like, wow, if it's smarter for me to bet negatively on the coin flip, maybe I should be line shopping more. Maybe I should be paying attention. Like if I'm this person that goes, who's stupid enough to bet on the coin flip and then doesn't line shop? I'm hoping to shame you into like, well, if you think that person is stupid, you're 4 times stupider.
That's a really good way to put it.
Right. I'm trying to teach by shaming.
Yeah. And what those people should do is the people who think that it's silly to bet 105 on a coin flip, but then go out there and bet 120, 110 when 110 is available. Those people should be playing on pick six. So the people who play pick six and Underdog has one now, right? Too. Like they also have a peer-to-peer game. Yeah, people should be playing those so they can go up against other people who might be smarter to then take their money. That's what they should be doing. That's my suggestion.
So, Super Bowl props. Well, we to bury the lead in the beginning. There could be enormous edges. Yeah. The reason for that, I mean, you'd have to look for them. I haven't, so I don't know. Is that they put up so many things. Like if we go to FanDuel, like they have these game specials of like each team to score 1+ rushing touchdown and 1+ passing touchdown. Travis Kelce, 50+ receiving yards in each half, right? They're like these guys to combine for this and these guys to do this. Like Kansas City special teams to score the first time. Well, that's just an anytime touchdown scorer. Like there are a lot of these things where they're combining a lot of things together. That's quite possible that things may be more correlated than the books think that they are. Right? Let's say, like I theorized. Now, I don't think you can't get these types of props on FanDuel or DraftKings. But like these are the types of things that I would be thinking about. James, I think there's probably a bet somewhere in the world of how many times Taylor Swift gets shown on television.
Oh yeah. How many seconds? How many seconds would probably
How many
be
seconds? Okay. They could
Yeah.
I would theorize that as long as the books haven't considered it, which I wouldn't think they put any weight into it, is that the longer Taylor Swift is shown on the screen, the more likely that correlates to the Chiefs winning.
Oh yeah.
Right. Because imagine if the 49ers are blowing out the Chiefs. How often are they showing Taylor Swift? Some people may say the opposite. They go, if the game's a blowout in the 49ers direction, maybe they show more Taylor Swift because there's nothing else to show because no one cares. But just the thought process of Super Bowl props, they put out these new stuff that you normally do not see on the menu for a game, right? These combinations and commercials and, what color the Gatorade is. Maybe there's some type of correlation or positive or negative to certain events based on those things that I guarantee you that the books, I mean, I can't guarantee it, but I wouldn't think the book's modeled because there's no data to model it. I mean, there's nothing to model it on. They're just going to put the two things together and just whatever the multiplier is, the multiplier is. But I could guarantee you, if you comb through the menu, you'll find bets where one is worded one way and another is worded another way, and for some odd reason, it's worded in a way where these two things overlap, but they're not acting like they overlap, right? Like this, like weird, like if this guy scores, like if this guy's the player to score, more than X amount of yards in each half, like, well, does that correlate to a high scoring game? Does it correlate to a low scoring game? Does it correlate to the passing yards be higher and lower and some other player? Because they typically don't give you these types of like each team to score one touchdown and one field goal in each half. Right? Now, is that somehow correlated to some player's prop?
Right.
Right? Who wins the coin flip? Has to, right? If some team is going to have the ball first in the first half, is that more likely? You don't get these things in normal games because they don't give you the coin flip in normal games.
Right.
And maybe minus 105 on a coin flip being negative EV actually corresponds to a positive correlation to some other things. The winner of the coin flip and the first field goal of the game.
Right.
Right. Yep. I don't know if they're pricing these types of things and you can find the markets that these exist. I'm just showing the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
And I know from other people that have bet on Super Bowl props behind the scenes that these things do exist.
Yeah.
And the ones that have the highest edge, you're not going to hear about because you don't want to let people know, because especially this is going to be the highest liquidity that you'll be able to get on props. And these markets are not going to be offered. This is not something that you could take advantage of, like in NFL, like week after week, game after game. It's like, oh, they offer this thing and whatever. Like this is a once a year type of thing. So people are not going to give up their edge, and it gets public, like what happened with the national anthem time. Like they don't
what
like
happened with that one?
Oh, about because they rehearse it.
Oh, okay.
Like the books didn't realize that the national anthem got rehearsed. So one of these years, someone actually went outside of the stadium during the rehearsal the day before and timed the national anthem.
Incredible.
And then, of course, blab, blab, blab. And next thing you know, you don't get that anymore because that's but that's a once a year thing. You're not going to be able to bet. There's no, what's the national anthem time on the random 4 p.m., NFL game on a week 6 or something. These are once a year types of things. So if you could find them, you could get a decent amount of money down. And especially if some of these books share like the same types of props, whatever. I mean, if you're willing to find them, and trust me, like there's a lot of bets. I mean, if you're a $20 bettor, is it worth for you to do this? Probably.
No, absolutely not.
Right. Because you wouldn't be putting 20 bucks. Like this is the type of thing that if you find something that has a nice 5+, 10+, even, 20, 30 possibly, that you're putting thousands down. You're trying to get as much down as you can, or partner up with, some syndicate and you be, getting a percentage back. I mean, there's tons of stuff. That's the whole nother game of sports betting that I try not to be really a part of, but that is what happens. So I guarantee you, if you look, despite the 60 Minutes report that they have AI that is way too advanced for human beings to beat the sports books, that FanDuel has put up prop bets that in one place they're plus 160 and in another place they're plus 850.
Right.
Like plus 650. Like there are differences of 10+% in implied probability for no reason other than it's just worded differently and in a different section. and something. And if you could take advantage of that, combining with positive correlation that they've not adjusted for. I mean, dude, there are things in the normal SGPs that are still not adjusted properly.
Right.
Right. That people are taking advantage of. And who knows what is available on PrizePicks and Underdog. Remember, they're the thing about PrizePicks and Underdog is they're not under the sports betting regulations. So they could offer stuff that, I mean, essentially it's Wild West type of.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they could offer whatever. I mean, I haven't even looked. But I mean, they could have weird stuff that they've proven in the past that they're very bad at calculating correlations or ignoring them completely. Right. Now, yeah, obviously the past year they've really tightened that up. But in the past, I mean, that was the moneymaker.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I guarantee you they have stuff up there where, pick a 5-pick flex has like 3 things that are really very highly correlated that they're not taking into account because they just want to get as many Super Bowl level props up as possible, just so LeBron James could tout them out on Twitter.
I love all this talk about correlation, especially leading in baseball. I'm really excited to see how books go after that. Because, like you said, in the last year, a lot of books have tightened the belt a little bit on correlation stuff. But it's been
PrizePicks and under the pick'em sites.
The
sports books have been. I mean, their SGP calculations are at least take it into account. But we've seen in the past that PrizePicks and Underdog, like you're putting in someone's over passing yards and 2 receivers over receiving yards, and they're treating it as it's 3 independent events, and that's just like That's just obvious. Now they don't. Now they either don't let you do that. They don't consider that a valid card, or they reduce the pay. You'll see on PrizePicks, it's like, well, this one, you're only getting paid 7x instead of 10x because of what you're pairing together.
I love the concept of PrizePicks and Underdog saying that card isn't valid, which is basically just them saying, we don't know how to calculate this, so we're not going to let you bet it. I love that concept. It's very self-affirming of them to be like, look, we understand that we're not this good and that you are, so we're not even going to give you the chance to take our money in making this kind of a bet.
I mean, they've done that with esports, right?
Yeah, they have. Yep.
It used to be. I remember. I mean, people would make tons of money in PrizePicks on esports because people would just stack and they wouldn't even.
Yep.
They wouldn't even do anything practically.
Yeah, because League of Legends.
Then they made it that you could only take like no more than 2 from a team, and then they made it that it's like, okay, take anyone you want, but we're going to make the payout be nothing.
Yeah. Good luck. Well, and when they made it only 2 from a team, what people did with League of Legends on PrizePicks was they're just like, okay, we're just going to combine the support over on assists and the ADC over on kills, and just, there's your 2 because they're so highly correlated. Yeah, it's a whole thing.
But we talk about correlation. We talk about these concepts, the theory of daily fantasy sports, how to think like a professional DFS player, because this is how you're supposed to think. That's the purpose of this course. Like any peer-to-peer game, right? I was talking about this with the Pick 6 stuff with Will last week, that our course, the theory of daily fantasy sports, isn't like, oh, this is how you beat NBA, and here's how to pick plays. Like, it's not that. Like the first third of the course essentially has nothing even to do specifically with daily fantasy sports, but how zero-sum games, how pari-mutual games, what game theory is, and how to think about where the money comes from, what the skill gap is, where the edges lie. And if you are in that, mode of thinking, you could attack any game, any market, right? Now, obviously, sportsbook market, a lot of it's not peer-to-peer, so the game theory is just what is the actual probability and what is the price that I'm getting. Like, it's just like it's simple. But when it comes to these Pick 6, DraftKings Pick 6, PrizePicks Arena, Underdog is coming out. I can't play these yet, but you'll be able to beat those games. These games didn't exist before we made this course.
Right.
Right. But you can still listen to this and go, oh, how does projection, correlation, and leverage exist for those games? Right? It's still the same concepts, right? If everyone's taking this prop as part of their pick six card, what's the efficient ownership of that that pick being that this guy is out from the basketball game, and this prop, instead of it being a 52% chance to win, it's now a 65% chance to win. And everyone sees that. And now next thing you know, it's 88% owned in your pick six contest. It's like, yeah, it is. It has the highest projection, but it has negative leverage, right? And then how do I make my pick six cards in a way that not only do I have a better chance of getting 6 out of 6 based on the projection, the combined win probability, but do these win probabilities, are they correlated to each other?
Right.
Right? Oh, this game's going to be a blowout. Well, why don't you take the 2 star players from each side and have them both their unders?
Mm-hmm.
That's correlated to each other, right? There you go. Right? Especially if there's a projection value on both sides, right? This is the same thing it's the same thing. I mean, it's literally daily fantasy sports. It's just, instead of it being salary cap based, the format is that it's 6 prop bets.
Yep.
With fixed odds that don't change, just like salaries don't change in DFS. So if you want to start beating those games, getting the fundamentals down of how you should think. That's why we titled it, How to Think Like a Professional DFS Player. I would highly suggest you get this course, theoryofdfs.com, and then use our projections here at RotoGrinders or at PayDirt. I haven't talked to you in what, three weeks or so? What's going on at PayDirt before we get out of here?
We are focusing a lot on pick'em games coming up. So trying to get connections specifically to Underdog and Prize Picks so that we can build in some automatic, downloads so that people can have access to that stuff. Already have access to all the pick six stuff that's offered. Trying to just build that up. And then the other big thing is I'm getting ready to start putting together the MLB models. Season long specifically first, and then working in the DFS stuff, but really excited to get on with MLB season and continue to ignore that which is the worst NBA season that we have ever seen in terms of injury reporting and late scratches.
It's the biggest fiction in all the world. The NBA injury report.
I hate it. I just despise it so much. Every year, it's February. I'm just going to start being louder and louder about it.
Hit that thumbs up on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button if you're new here. Hit the notification bell to know when we go live. Tomorrow I'll be on with Tim. The NHL is back. The All-Star break should be over, right? The All-Star break's over, right? Do we have NHL or? Yeah,
we have NHL today. Yep.
We have NHL tomorrow. Okay. Because sometimes, like NBA, they don't come back until like Thursday or something. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure. So yeah, Tim's on tomorrow. We'll talk NHL. Later in the week, we'll get TJ on, Will on. We'll be looking more at Super Bowl props. Squirrel Patrol will be on Friday. We'll still Super Bowl. We'll talk about Super Bowl DFS as well, primarily with Squirrel Patrol. So if you're playing the large, $15 Super Bowl showdown on DraftKings, we'll have all the picks and strategy and everything on Friday, as well as, we have premium content, obviously, for the Super Bowl. So click that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. Get RotoGrinders Premium. You get in the Discord. You get all of our projections. NBA, MLB will be back. MMA, PGA. You get everything. So join us. Join us in the Discord. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. And I'll be back tomorrow because that's what I do here, Monday through Friday. 11 o'clock Eastern. Talking about all things you're thinking about in daily fantasy, props, and pick'em on RotoGrinders today.